Jet Set Radio is one of the many games now that have a reputation that precedes itself. So much so that I feel like I was insulting people's intelligence by being the 10th guy to tell you what it is. Much like other heavy hitters like Persona, Earthbound, and Metal Gear, JSR feels like a game whose biggest fans are people who never played it. Tons of games have idle fans who don't play for one reason or another, but there's a commonality between all of these which draws more attention than others, and that's just setting a vibe. Art direction and having a cohesive design does wonders for how a game is perceived, and if it's distinct enough, then it can absolutely just become timeless. And there's nothing wrong with appreciating a game or anything like that without directly interacting with it. But I'm just saying, I've played all these games, and I'm basically a better gamer than you. I was like you once, only listening to the soundtrack and enjoying the art style. And, I never had a Dreamcast, and I'm apparently one of the exclusive owners of JSR on Steam, since companies love holding their games hostage, so I felt kind of obligated to play it.
We're gonna blast your blues with a burst of pure sound. This is your very own one-punch knockout broadcaster, Jet Set Radio! Which one of you punks want to step in the ring?
JSR takes no time at all in setting a tone for the player. It practically reaches out of the screen to force you awake as it starts, and it never stops delivering. The game is definitely remembered for the right reasons, because I feel like I was constantly at odds with the game as I tried to enjoy it. The game's main story missions are broken up into a couple categories. Spray the wall, spray the guy, make these jumps, and contemplate death as you're being chased by half of Tokyo's military presence. Just like another Sega IP they don't know what to do with, this game tries really hard to destroy any momentum I ever get. Tagging missions are the bulk of what make up the story. The graffiti QTE was novel for a bit, until you've got 10 cops surrounding the last few spots you need to tag. Beginning a level, you really need to get a layout for the place, and hit the spots that'll either take the longest, or where you think a bunch of cops are gonna spawn to fuck your groove up.
This is Onishima requesting aerial cover. Send in the choppers, and when you find those kids, don't waste any time. Just never.
I want him dead. I want his family dead. I want his house burnt to the ground. I want to go to the middle of the night. I want to piss on his ashes.
These guys chase you forever, and you'll have this big stupid arrow over your head unless you go to the specific escape spot the game wants you to go. Besides a few select enemies, you really have no way of defending yourself, and it really just pisses me off why it's so choosy on what you can and can't, defend against. Why can I take down a helicopter with a can of spray paint, but I can't spray this shit in somebody's retina that's chasing me down? I just think it's a little ridiculous. It takes time for momentum to be gained, especially when you're trying to grind, and it can feel really egregious when you have enemies that have smoke grenades that have precision, laser precision, that give me whooping cough and cripples me. Speaking of movement, I can't begin to explain my frustrations with how the game feels to control. There's a certain weight to your character, and the animations are smooth, but half the time it felt like I was trying to skateboard underwater. You have very little control of yourself while in the air, and it can be very difficult to gauge where you're landing, especially when it's a gamble half the time, if you make the magic hitbox on grinding something. There were so many times where I'd be having a great few seconds of fun, and then it's rudely interrupted by a wonky jump that I can't correct, or the odd rail that just won't comply, and I have to start all over again, basically. The second type of missions you find for the main story are the combat missions, where the game gives you 3 rival gang members that you need to spray 10 times. They run away in a linear path, and contact with them hurts no matter behind or in front of them. You can get lucky and get these missions done quickly, but it's not particularly fun. You're incentivized to spam the spray button when behind them, which is conveniently also how you recenter the camera. So you play this awful game of getting behind somebody, and you're waiting for that little bubble for the spray to pop above their head, and then you just start spamming L2, because you can just do it in quick succession, and it might work, but you're also going to be seeing your camera have a seizure, because that's how you recenter your camera. So I'm getting whiplash, while trying to have fun in this mission, and it's just, I don't know, it's just not good. The art direction, though, it really seeps through the level design, with some places that I definitely consider to be downright gorgeous. But that only goes so far. Some levels are a bit more open and give the player room to breathe, and that's great, as it often gives you plenty of avenues to escape. But some of the other ones leave you feeling like a caged animal or have an element of verticality that once again brings the momentum to a screeching halt. Some of these levels like absolutely have me feeling like DSP with how disenfranchised I'd get about it.
Oh my god. Oh my god! Oh my fucking god! Fuck this stupid fucking game! What?
Take this bustling city level. While pretty to gawk at, the verticality of it ruins the fun for me. The easiest way to get up where you need to be is through these elevators, which has me stop, hop in, and wait to be lifted to spray a few targets, then try and fail to make the right jumps. I kept thinking of Tony Hawk's Underground in the back of my head, like, you know, Tony Hawk lets me get off my skateboard. I would have hit that shit in Tony Hawk, you know, or like, Tony Hawk has Bam Margera and Shrek, like, what am I doing here? And I'd start getting pissed, and it wouldn't help that I'm, you know, busting my teeth against the pavement worse than a hockey player in Florida. I have the most obnoxious tracks blaring in my ear. That Hideki guy has the amazing ability to make music that either makes me want to get down or get down to unplug my speakers. Has he played the game? Did he have to hear, you know, his music while losing, while getting shot in the back? The game finishes off quite abruptly, honestly, with this final level, which I suppose, you know, you could call a boss fight. It's a great spectacle, and I love the look of everything, but it once again reassures the player that they really shouldn't bother with avoiding getting hurt while spraying. They really should just, like, you know, stay there and get the spray done, which I just don't think is a good, you know, design choice. So, it's over. It's kind of a mixed bag of a game, but I'd still say I'd recommend it, you know, just on vibes alone. But where do we go from here, you know? Jet Set Radio Future is a thing, but it only has like a couple levels, and I've heard that the controls are the same or arguably worse. So, I don't know what's left, you know?
We only getting started. Yeah, I got the light. He got the light. We got the light. What you know about it? So much light. More light than a spike in your power bill. Or a match when it strike, we devour ill. They don't know how to feel. Their minds cripple, mental game bangers. Never saw losers, but we game changers. Rearrange strangers with the Rick's next mission. Bring the light to your home, electrician. I've been grinding since the basement. If you know, you know, man, you not adjacent. I'm in a league of my own. My soul speaking through poems. Both your speakers are blown for my soul.
I'd heard of this game before it came out, but it flew under my radar until I was playing Jet Set and I started seeing red, you know, trying to make it work for me. So I really needed to see how people iterated on the concept, because I felt, you know, it almost felt like I was playing Jet Set wrong, you know? So I just needed, like, to have my my gamer skill revalidated. I really can't overstate how much this game not only fixes all of my problems with its spiritual predecessor, but improves on so much that the game laid the groundwork for. Bomb Rush Cyberfunk has you in the shoes of a notorious graffiti artist in New Amsterdam. This game feels immaculate to control, with freedom of movement being the chief priority here. Beginning the game, it immediately shows the player the freedom of movement, as it shows you how to air dash, turbo boost, and how to take off your skates. The devs obviously knew what was missing from JSR and front-loaded the intro with the changes a fan would want from something like this. I'd say the most drastic change would probably be the combat system, and the fact that I can fight at all made me fucking giddy. I describe it kind of like a, you know, Spider-Man 2 style of combat, but it doesn't really have any of the weightiness, you know, of Spider-Man 2, but it's still welcome, you know, it's better than nothing.
A weapon to surpass Metal Gear.
Spray painting is also a much more enjoyable experience. Instead of picking your sprays before level and having a different QTE pattern between characters, which I always found to be really annoying, because if you want any variety at all, you're like inevitably gonna be interrupting that flow state, you know, of getting your sprays done quickly. But in Bomb Rush, you have a 5-point system with each paint having a unique path that determines what you get. It's not only fun to do multiple times as they stack, but it also gives you a speed boost, and it's a great way to finish some cops off in style. Credit to the artists for the sprays are right there on your flip. The phone is your menu UI for most of the stuff you need. It's your map, messenger, your spray database, and music switcher, which is so damn nice. The game's levels are free to explore right out the gate when you begin a new chapter, and the player gets to decide how they want to tackle everything. Giving the player the consequence-free environment to both experiment and enjoy themselves is such a massive step up for this type of game. Being able to switch between characters on the fly is nice, and it's great to start a level and see your crew running around the area just like you. The game wastes no time at all in the intro as you're busting out of jail and your old buddy confiscates your cranium. Waking up with a metal head, you have no memories of who you were and set out to spread your crew's influence so you can try to get your head back.
Yo.
It's a more engaging story than Jet Set, but I'd definitely be lying if I said that I didn't miss the voice acting of DJK after my missions. There's honestly so much more I could get into about the game when looked at through the lens of having just finished Jet Set, but I've already gotten too bogged down in comparison. Bomb Rush stands on its own two legs amazingly well, and it's an easy recommendation to anybody. It has many things which make it unique. You can't buy Jet Set anywhere, but you know, it's 2025 and that shouldn't stop anyone from playing it. I really hope Sega took some notes from Bomb Rush and, you know, maybe it kicks their ass into gear with this mysterious sequel for Jet Set that's probably never going to come out. I appreciate anyone who made it to the end of the video, and I hope that you can like and subscribe so you can, you know, get notified for when I upload again in the next 2 years.